Revit and Smart Review APR provide powerful tools for reviewing the results of a building code analysis, but it takes a little bit of manipulation of the Revit model. Here are some techniques for clearly identifying elements that are out of compliance in 2D and 3D views. The 3D is the most complex, but the most revealing. First, I start with a 3D view and I use visibility graphics to turn off all the categories that are of not interest in APR. So here's a 3D view. I'm going to duplicate it. And I like using these transparent views that they show everything in the model in one view. And so they kind of relate everything together. So I'm going to rename this and let's call it SMRV results. And I'm going to go to visibility graphics and I'm going to select everything and turn everything off. And then select nothing and turn them back on. Turn back on only the parts that are relevant to building code review. So that's doors, floors, roofs, stairs, walls, and windows. Now, these same elements, I'm going to set them to be transparent because I like those transparent views. I'm just control clicking on each of them to select them one by one, but get all of them selected at once. And then if I click on overriding the transparency here, I can key in a value. 65 is a pretty good one. And now I've created my transparent view for doing this. And I can apply that and see how it works. See, I turned off the topography and some of the other things that are not really that important. Now I'm going to go to filters here and I have to create a new filter. So I get my filters out and I create a new one here and call it SMRV non-compliant, because this is going to grab only the non-compliant elements in the model so that we can change their graphics. And once again, the things that I'm interested in are doors, floors, roofs. I'm going to get rooms too. Stairs, walls, windows. And actually, while we're at it, I'm just going to get areas too, because Smart Review does use those. So now I'm going to give it the rule for filtering these. And I want that rule to be to go to the Smart Review result parameter. And it's a text parameter. So I want to get something, values that have some particular textual characteristic. So values that begin with the text fail, F-A-I-L. And those are the ones that we're going to grab in a selection set. Now, when I created that, that's now in the model and it's available to every view in the model. But in order to use it in this view, I have to add it. So I'll click on add. There it is. I'll add it and I'll set overrides for the surface patterns. So I want a solid fill and I want it to be bright red. And tell it, okay, and it's bright red, solid fill. And if I click on apply here, it will apply that to my view. So I've applied that to the view, but I don't have my building code analysis in this model yet. So I'm going to zoom in close so we can kind of see it. And I'm going to go to the Smart Review menu and get out my Smart Review panel. And then I'm going to retrieve the analysis results that I computed earlier. They're on the cloud, but I have to bring them back into the model. And that's done. And I can see all my results here. So there's some problems with exterior walls, exits and doorways. I can look at them in here, but it's not really all that revealing. Even if I pull this out some, like that. Pull this one narrow again so I can see the text here. Now, if I write the results, and now it's a little more interesting because we're using that filter to turn the ones that are non-compliant, that failed, to be red. So if I click on this roof here, then we can see in the analysis view here that it failed because it needs to be a 1 hour roof. So by using these filters on the graphic view, I can kind of quickly see what needs to be fixed in my model in order to bring it into full compliance. If I click on an element that is actually compliant and look at analysis, then it says it passed. So you can see there's a difference in those. Now, rooms are not visible in the 3D views. So I'm going to get a room view here, and I'm going to duplicate it. And rename it. Room results. And I'm going to change its visibility as well, but I need to change it in the template. So this just kind of points out that we can make any of these custom views into a template and then apply them over and over again. So apply them in other views in this model, or transfer project standards to another model, another file, and apply them in another file, or embed them in our templates so that they're just always there for us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color scheme. And I'm going to duplicate this name color scheme. So I'm going to call it SMRV room results. And I'll change the parameter that determines these results like this. Now, I want this to be bright red because I like that red markup. I'll make this bright orange so you can see it too. So these two failed ones are bright colors, and the past one is just gray. So we see that result. Now, I could change some other things here. So I'll go back to my template and I'll change the visibility graphics. And what I'm going to do is apply that filter again. So I'll apply the non-compliant filter, change the patterns, be a solid fill and red color. And I'm going to change the lines too. So I found that some elements such as doors, it's a little bit hard to see them unless you go the extra mile to make them more impressive. So I'm going to set them to be red line work, and I'm going to set the weight to be quite heavy. So a heavy, thick line for the elements that have a problem. And I can tell it okay and okay again. And now I've done that. Now we have a little bit of a problem here in that floor element is kind of dominating everything. So I'm going to try selecting the floor here. Sometimes that's a little bit of a problem. Now I got the floor, and I'm going to just simply hide the floor in this view. And then we can see those problems a little more clearly. And one last thing to do is that I can set the color scheme, instead of being in the background, to be in the foreground. And we see it a little bit more clearly. Now, now the next thing to do is to create a tag so that I can put the text on these drawings. So I'm going to go to annotation symbols here, and I'm going to get a room tag, create a new room tag, and I'm going to add a label. It's going to be right here. And then a little trick here is if I click on this new parameter, add parameter, I can go to my shared parameters, and I've got the Smart Review shared parameter file open. So I can go to the results group and get the result parameter and add it to this tag. So there it is. It's in the tag, available tag list, available field list, and I can add it to the tag like that. So now we have that in the tag. If I click on this, I can make it left justified and zoom in here and pull it across. So it's right on that origin point. And, you know, I like my markup in red, so I'm going to duplicate this to be a red text. Change the color to be red. And now that one is pretty much done. I need to save it. And I'm going to call it well, let's call it that SMRV tag results, just like that. Actually, I want to call it room tag. And I'll load it and close. So it comes into our model. I've got to go back to that room view again. And I can add annotations here. So I'm designating what the issues are with each of these. So this failed on 803, and this failed on 1007, and that's all, you know, making that, providing that data to the users out there. Now, another thing I can do is create another kind of tag. So I'm going to create a annotation symbol, this time a multi-category tag. So a multi-category tag means that it can be applied to a lot of different objects. It can be applied to walls and to roofs, to doors, to windows. Since all of those have Smart Review result parameters, I can use the same tag to apply to all of them. And it's pretty much the same process. I've got to select the parameter, get it from my parameter file, and put it into the tag, and probably want to make it left justified, position it a little bit better like that, and change the label. Again, I'll duplicate it and make a red one. And I'll save it. And we'll call this multi results. And I'll load it into the project. And we won't worry about that yet. Go to our floor plan, and we see this door has a problem. So I can add a multi-category tag to that shows it's passed. To this one, is showing it's failed. There. I did that several times. There we go. That looks better. Make this nice and orderly. I can line them up. All right, now one final thing to look at is that if I go back to my 3D view, wouldn't it be nice to tag this view too? And one can actually do that, but we can't add these multi-category tags unless the view is locked. It'd be just kind of odd to have a textural element and then be spinning the model around. What do we do with the text then? That's a bit unclear. So, so Revit handles that by allowing you to lock the view. So I get the view where I want it, and I click on this icon down here and save the orientation and lock the view. Now, what that does is it saves the spin and saves the vantage point, but it doesn't save the view. I can still zoom in and out. Basically, it converts that 3D view into a 2D view that I can work with. So I'm going to put a multi-category tag on it, get our SMRV tag, and tab here. So, so I've got that roof, and it's telling me why that roof failed. I can get this floor and tag it, and this roof up here and tag it. Now, if I wanted to, I could tag the ones that passed. It doesn't, not very meaningful to do that, but so that one passed. So just seeing that it will show ones that passed as well as ones that failed. You know, but that allows us to communicate with, say we're a plans review expert. We could review the model and communicate back to the architects what the problems are by tagging the 3D view that way. Or we could communicate to someone we're teaching about the building codes by tagging elements that are in violation. Or we could communicate to other team members about what they need to do or what their challenge is to get the building into compliance. So, so these 3D views and tagging and color coding help the designers, and they help design team members, and they help students better understand the code.